This week's episode of Citizens in St. Lucie featured somebody again who I've never met until she walked into the office and came and sat down for a conversation. Crystal Barker King is someone who, on the surface, if you're just walking down Orange Avenue, is a business owner and a normal member of our community. Crystal's an inspiration to me. Many of the interactions that we have in our daily life, on the street, in passing, are so fleeting. A couple of seconds, you say hello, you shake hands, you say, hey, we really should catch up, and you go about your day. And I think it's indicative of the social media world that we live in, where we're scrolling every 5 seconds, and those small interactions bring no personal connection. Sitting down with Crystal and getting to know her story really gives me some perspective that you don't get to experience in those couple of second interactions on the street where you say hi. And Crystal's story is so much different than mine. And we talk about that in the episode, that my home life early was super stable and hers was chaotic and not as stable. And it's interesting to me to see two people from very different backgrounds come together and find common ground in wanting to make our communities better places. I think that's a good sign that we don't need a bunch of crazy politicians to tell us where we're headed, that we as citizens can make a difference here in our community. If you have something to say, if you are involved in the community, if you've got something to talk about, I want to do it on this podcast. I want to give you the platform to come and talk to the people of St. Lucie County and say what you need to say. Crystal was gracious enough to come spend about an hour and a half with me, and we covered quite a few topics, and I think just scratched the surface of how cool she is and how involved she is in our community. And I'm sure we missed 100 things that she has her hands in. And she doesn't just have her hands in them to get recognition. She has her hands all in those organizations, and she is involved in those organizations intricately to help better our community. And we need more people like Crystal. And so if you know someone like Crystal, if you yourself want to come on, I encourage it. I hope you enjoy the episode. It was phenomenal to get to know you, Crystal. Thank you for coming in. Enjoy the episode. We'll get started. Okay. Crystal Barker King, yes. Right? I got that right? Yes. I think I mentioned to you already. I don't really have a set plan for this. There's not a script. I didn't give you the questions in advance. Right. I think you might have even asked me for the questions in advance, but I don't know what they are, so it's hard to send them to you. Yeah. So really, the purpose of this, I really just like to get to know the people around me. And I'm starting pretty close to home, I guess, with you. Your office is just right down here, the street from me, yes. Right? Yep. So let's start with like your early life in SLC, St. Lucie County, for you non-SLC people. But let's start with your early life. Like when did you move here? What was growing up here like? Like just hit me with some highlights.
All right. So I moved here in 1987. I was born in 82. I was 5. Came off of Gatlin, the Circle K on the corner of Gatlin and Port St. Lucie Boulevard. Only gas station out there. Yeah. We used to go four-wheeling out in St. Lucie West. Did not exist. I moved to the east side of Port St. Lucie. Lived there for a little while. Wound up moving south to Hope Sound Stewart area. We kind of bounced around a little bit. My younger life wasn't necessarily the stable, most stable environment. And then flash forward to, how quickly do you want me to go through? Because it's a long
I want you to tell your story. So, we got 9 hours and 44 minutes on the memory card after you helped me with my technical problems. So.
Okay. So we moved to Florida. I grew up in St. Lucie County between, we'll just say St. Lucie and Martin County. Okay. Grew up in a Roseau area in Port St. Lucie, Hope Sound Stewart in Martin County. I wound up being here, the majority of my life was St. Lucie County, so I'll just focus on that. St. Lucie County back then was, if you're from here and you grew up here, there was nothing to do. Nope. There was...
Go to a party in the orange grove maybe?
Yeah,
like that was
cow
about
tipping. you know? Yeah. You ate, you know, sometimes maybe you ate the oranges or the mushrooms that grew out of the orange. I don't know, you know. We just did whatever, you know. But to be fair, we didn't have street lights, but the vibe was so different.
It was a free range community. Like I remember going anywhere, doing anything at any time. Like
my mom would just be like, okay, see you later, you know,
right.
And, you know, we were the kids that grew up, you know, locked out of the house. Mom was cleaning. You drank from the hose, your well water that smelled like sulfur and eggs.
Yeah.
And, you know, we did all the kid things.
That resonates with me. I grew up off of Header Canal Road. The water out there still smells like sulfur if you don't have a good, you know, water filtration system or whatever. It's gross.
Yeah, well, it's gross now, but I guess when we were kids, I didn't know it was that bad until I got older, and I was like, what's that smell? Now people are like, oh, that's the water, and I'm like, man, did it smell? And we did have a salt tank.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know.
Oh, it's way worse now. Like you go back and you smell that, and you're like, how did I ever take a shower in this?
Yeah, and don't get me started on bleaching your hair, because I had to use like purple shampoo to get all the orange out of my hair when I was bleached blonde.
That was popular then, like the bleaching of the hair in the early 2000s, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, yep. For like 15 years I was a blonde. So I actually run into people from when I was in my late teens to early 20s. They don't even recognize me because they're like, oh my God, your hair's so dark. And I'm like, this is my natural color.
Yeah, I was faking you guys out before.
Yeah, it's fake it till you make it blonde.
Right?
Yeah, so, and it was the trend, right?
Yeah.
So I went, flash forward through, I grew up, you know, life was fine, you know, some things happened in my younger years. You know, my brother got into some trouble. You know, my mom, we were poor.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot, but my grandmother, the matriarch of our family, really stepped in. She took care of things when my mom couldn't. You know, my mom was a single parent.
I was going to ask. It sounds like maybe mom was a single parent. Okay.
She was. My father passed away when I was 2. There are 5 siblings. I lost my sister, unfortunately, a few years back, but we can talk about that when we get closer to that age range.
Sure.
And it just was rough
okay.
on that level. But my grandmother saw something in me. At this point, I'm in Stewart. I'm going to Murray Middle School.
Okay.
And if you're familiar with Murray and that area, it's gangster.
Yeah.
Like, I was fighting every day.
A lot of people don't even know, like, there's rough areas in Stewart. Like, you talk about Martin County or Stewart as a St. Lucie County person. It's like this elevated thing, kind of.
Yeah.
But there's bad areas there, for sure.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say that now it's bad, but back then, I also lived in Golden Gate, and that was really a bad neighborhood as well. But we didn't know. We were kids.
Yeah.
We did not know those things. You know,
we just in the neighborhood.
Lived our life,
right.
Did kid things. And so I went to Murray Middle School. I was getting in trouble a lot. My mom was doing the best she could. My brother got into some trouble, and it just got to the point where my grandmother took me in.
Okay.
So I move in with my grandmother. She puts me into...
How old were you when that happened?
13.
Okay.
She puts me into St. Andrews Episcopal Academy, which is right here in St. Lucie County.
Yep.
That school changed my life.
Okay.
I mean, and I found out way later in life that they didn't even want me. Because, you know, you have to apply.
Right.
They have to accept you. It's a whole thing.
And it was a much smaller school
Way
in those
small.
days,
They didn't
too.
have high school.
Yeah.
Which had they, I would have stayed and not went over to John Carroll. But, so I get in there. I start really excelling. I was class president. I won the spelling bee.
Okay.
I came in 6th place in St. Lucie County.
All right.
I mean, I really dove into a side of me that I knew was in there, but nobody was encouraging it. It was just getting into fights, bad behavior, riding bikes, egging cars, toilet papering cars, you know, being rude to police, because that's, you know, you wanted to be cool.
That's
you
what we
wanted
did.
to fit in.
Sure.
But I was never the bad kid, but I certainly hung out with a lot of bad kids.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a judgmental person. You know, I don't care if you're not hurting me or hurting someone, you know, per se, or animals.
Sure.
I don't really judge you on that level, and I'm still that way. So, that school changed my life. They were very good to me. Bumped over to John Carroll.
Let me just for a second, let me interject you. I don't mean to keep cutting you off,
good.
but you are exactly the kind of person that I enjoy talking to. Because my upbringing was exactly opposite of that. I had a tremendous home life. My mom and dad, tremendous. I had them both. I had all 4 grandparents within 10 minutes of me growing up. Like I had all of the things that you would say like lead you to you should be successful or you should have a good home life, right? I found myself at 13, 14, 15 doing those same nonsense things. So I think maybe as a product of, yeah, sure, your home life was different than mine, but it's kind of a product of the area that we grew up in.
Yes.
There was not a lot of activity for us to go do that was productive. There was a lot of things that we could do that would get us in trouble, so to speak. Maybe not that we're hurting the community or, hurting someone, but that's just, we're teenagers being kind of stupid.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in, your upbringing and the family you're born into does not predict your circumstances or your decisions.
Yeah, it can definitely hurt you, right? But it doesn't always help you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, I like that. So that's interesting. All right, so we go from St. Andrews to, I think you said John Carroll, yeah?
Yep, bumped over to John Carroll. And John Carroll's a great school, but at the end of the day, with any school that's got a lot of family legacy names in it, I always felt like an outcast there. Most of my friends were not from that school, and I, being true to my core, I was friends with everybody.
Right.
The unpopular kids, the popular kids. I can remember getting invited to like the popular kid birthday parties, and then the other side of it, the ones they viewed as not popular. And then there was one scenario where, and this, I don't know why this stuck with me, but the girl, and I'm not going to say her name because she still lives around here, was like, "I'm sorry, I can't invite you." And I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "Well, because you hang out with all the losers." And I'm like, "Oh.
Those are my friends. You
okay.
better watch it."
So I'm like, "But you're my friend.
Right.
We talk on the phone. I've slept over your house." But now we were getting into now we're going into like June, later sophomore year, right before I got pregnant.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. So I just let it be, you know, and we quickly became not really friends at that point.
Sure. I mean, if you're going to get uninvited to something, that's not...
So then at this point, my mom is living in Fort Pierce off Edwards Road, an apartment complex. And my grandmother, is gracious enough to let me go over there and spend the weekends. Well, my mom, I'm a teenager, I'm going to do me.
Sure.
And so granted, I go out and, I meet this super cute boy and I'm, all the things.
As
and
it
boom,
happens.
immaculate conception, I don't know. But I have to now go back and say, needless to say, she was very disappointed in me because she invested a lot of time and money. I have since made that right. For years, I carried a lot of guilt about it, but I chose to keep my kid.
Yeah.
And
kudos to you.
Her experience, with, my mom and all of us siblings, she was worried I was going to mimic what I saw and I was going to use the system and I was never going to be successful. She really thought I just ruined my whole life. Not that she wanted me to abort him. Let me clear that up. It wasn't that she ever said those words. I knew that it tortured her inside. And I literally said to her, "I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to be different. I'm going to make something of myself. This is just going to fuel me." And it did. And I had him. I left. So John Carroll would not let me walk the stage as an unwed mother. They did give me a scholarship to go for free, which, that was great. But when they told me that I could graduate but not walk with my class because I had a baby, I was like, whatever. And I don't know if I set the trend, but the senior class of 99, 2000, that graduated in 2000, there were like 5 girls that had kids.
Yeah.
And most of them don't even have custody of their kids, or they lost custody of their kids. So I'm 16, have my son. I drop out of John Carroll. I go to IRCC back then. It wasn't IRSC.
We were still a community college back then.
It was. I took my GED. I passed it, obviously. And then I immediately went over to Kaiser Career. It was Kaiser Career College back then.
Yep.
I went into their medical assisting program, graduated that 2003, was pursuing my associates in science, finished all of that by 2006. And by 21, I was running a doctor's office in Palm City.
Hey.
And now I've got 2 kids.
Pretty solid story.
My daughter came at 19. So by the time I was 19, I had 2 kids. I was living on my own. I met her father, Anthony, who grew up around here in Martin County as well. I've actually known him since I was like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Growing up here. We went to Porcelano Elementary School together.
Cool.
So
it's always funny, it's still a small community. You bounce around and you see people that I haven't seen you in 20 years, but we have this connection. It's
Yes.
like you still do that pretty regularly.
Yeah, for sure. And what's really cool about that for me is that I'm such a relationship building type personality. It can be 10 years that I've seen someone. Like I'll still go down to Martin County and I'll run into someone I haven't seen 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And we just pick up where we left off. It's like we never separated or we just catch up real quick. And
Right.
then, we're just there having dinner or hanging out. And my personality is really just to embrace people in general. I think that's carried me through a lot of everything I've been through.
Okay.
So I'm also a published poet.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Do you want to share some poetry with us now? No, I'm just kidding. Tell me about that. Like, when did that happen? How does that even like fit into your story? It seems like it was just like an afterthought in the research I was doing, but it seems like that should be a bigger note.
So poetry.
That's a big deal.
My grandmother, I'll give you a quick, my grandmother had her own cable TV show up north called Bobby and Her Gang. And they did theatrics and sang and little skits and stuff. And my father actually was going to be a famous singer before he died. He was a singer and had a great voice.
Yeah.
My grandmother can sing. So there was a lot of that in our family life. So when I went to live with her, the Lyric Theater in Stewart had open mic night for poetry. And my grandfather at the time was, a songwriter and would write poetry. So I was like, let me try this. Let me see if I can do this. And for me, it was therapy. It really was healing to me to get it out. And looking back now, I still have the original book that I wrote all those poems in.
So how old were you then?
14,
Okay.
14, 15.
Okay.
It was right before I got pregnant.
Yeah.
So I think the book was published at 14.
Okay.
And I just started writing, and they encouraged me as a young person to get up on the stage and read my stuff aloud. And it just became like infectious. And it was a good outlet for me to write down what I was feeling without incriminating my family or feeling like I was shaming them.
It was an outlet.
It was my own internal emotions being spoken in the form of poetry. And
That's so cool.
Very healing for me.
Have you continued to write? Do you still write at all?
So fun fact, no.
Okay.
On occasion, I'll get a hair up and I have like a journal app in my iPhone and I will journal. But no, I don't do it as much, but I will toggle every now and then. Sometimes I think, I should get back to that. But I'm in a different space now.
Yeah.
So it was very healing for me. And I highly encourage people to just put the pen to paper. Even if you don't come out with a poem or a song, just getting something out onto paper is very healing.
Getting your thoughts out of your head can be helpful no matter what the outlet is.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
So so I don't do it anymore, but yeah, it was good. It was a good outlet for me. It was very helpful.
Awesome. So, I don't want to spend too much more time on the growing up in St. Lucie County portion. Is there anything else that you would say, like, this was something in my early life that I wish we still had here? And I'm cautious to ask that question because I don't want this to be a memory lane. I want it to be what it used to be. We're not going back to that. I think we should just put that to bed. Anyone that says we want it to be what it used to be, that ship has sailed. There are things though that I miss about growing up in this community that we don't have, and that I'm sad that maybe kids don't get to experience. I don't want to give you a lead into that. Is there anything that you got to do or that you experienced as a kid that you wish that our kids got to do now that maybe they don't because it's a bigger area?
No.
Okay.
Because,
that's interesting. All right, that's different than my perspective.
No, there isn't anything that I did that I don't feel is still around other than the skating rink. I miss the skating rink, but
Which one?
Fort Pierce.
Thunder Skate or Skate Town?
No, Skate Town.
All right, Thunder Skate was probably a little after you, right?
We were Skate Town kids. But now there's Vero, still has Skate Factory.
There was a lot of birthday parties I went to at Skate Town. That was a big birthday party hub back in the day.
When it closed, that is the only thing that triggered me. But I tend to not live in the past kind of personality.
Okay.
I'm a solutions person.
Yeah.
Hence why we own an IT and a phone company. It just goes right with my personality. And my husband, I don't like to harbor on things that were what was.
Yeah.
And I don't use my past, obviously, as
I think that's
crutch. It is what it is. This is what we have to work with now. Let's make the best of it.
Yeah.
Or what can we do to make the future better? Not really looking back.
I do kind of wish that our kids could experience the same kind of like carefree area where they could go and do things without, some of the worries that come with the modern world like we were able to. But, as part of an area growing and getting bigger.
Like going to the park unsupervised or just
like having a party in an orange grove that we don't even have orange groves really anymore. So like that's a foreign topic to those kids, or like our fishing here isn't as good as it used to be, and we don't have as many wildlife opportunities as there used to be. Like my whole entertainment system when I was a kid, I didn't have video games, we didn't have TV, like it was terrible internet out west of town.
Yeah.
Like I spent so much time in our community in nature, and I kind of bummed that doesn't exist so much anymore.
So I am very much an animal lover. I'm not a hunter. I don't fish. I don't want to hurt anything, not any animal. I feed birds, the squirrels. I foster rescue for different humane societies in the area. I could never see myself doing any of that activity. So
that's fair.
That's why. But as far as the bonfire and the parties out at nature, I feel like there's still opportunity out there for that. We're just grown.
Yeah.
And it's a different perspective. I think kids are still doing it.
I hope so.
But I think it's
safely.
I don't think it's to the same caliber, you know. They're not all bringing truckloads of whatever scraps were at their parents' house to burn.
Sure.
In an open, uncontrolled burn without any water. I think
maybe you're making me realize how dangerous that is.
I do think that kids today, when it comes to stuff like that, I think the parents are more involved, especially if they're like us and grew up here.
Yeah.
They're like, you can do a bonfire with your friends. Here's the 100-foot hose.
Yeah.
I'll supply the wood kind of a thing. That's what I think.
I always pick on my daughter. She's a freshman in high school. It's like Friday night, you're sitting home with your mom and dad. You don't really have any aspirations to go do anything crazy with your friends. I feel like, why aren't you out there doing something wild? But I guess I should be glad that she's not, I guess. But yeah.
My kids were not the kids that went out either and stayed out all night and did, they did some crazy things, but they weren't seeking that. My son's a big video gamer.
Yep.
So, he spent a lot of his time on video games, which that's a whole other topic. After all the Roblox stuff came out, all the lawsuits, I was like,
scary.
I called my son literally. I was like, did I fail you as a parent? Because I never monitored, because, I know now, but I didn't know then. I never monitored his Xbox. I just, here you go.
It's video games.
I didn't know that they could talk to you from outside. But he has built lasting friendships with people all over the world through that system. So it's a blessing and a curse like anything in life.
Yeah.
You're going to put into something and take from it where your mindset's at. So if your mindset's malicious, you're going to get malicious. If you're not thinking about that, or you're smart enough or have the sense to be like, whoa, weirdo, get away from me, don't talk to me, block, then you're not. My son's like, I didn't have that problem because I knew better. Right.
So that's cool. I guess kids, they learn things a lot faster than we do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kind of fast forward. And I think it's pretty interesting. Your story starts with being, I don't want to call you an at-risk youth, but you had, kind of a strained childhood.
For sure.
You turned that into what seemingly to me, and we haven't gone too much into your career and professional life, but it seems like to me in my limited researching that I did, your career has been community-based. You've been pretty focused on the community, pretty philanthropic. You're real involved in quite a few organizations throughout the community. Would you say that your challenges in your early life have led to maybe your successes or your ventures in your adult life?
I think the loving nature in me stems from the lack of, so to speak, as a child. And I'm not saying that my family didn't love me. I'm just saying that I was not adorned with all of the things and gifts and all the new shiny cars. I had to work really hard. I drove a 1992 Tempo for years. I had a 17% interest rate on my first car loan but I did all these things by myself.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of reward, but it took a lot to get there. And as far as the philanthropy side of what I do, I can remember being a kid not knowing all these big black trash bags that my mom was getting delivered, or us waking up Christmas morning all knowing that my mom didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And then we're like, where did all this stuff come from? Now I know there was someone doing those things, collecting those gifts, wrapping those gifts. So that is why I do it. That's why I do it, because I had to carry on what was done for me to the future, because I needed someone like me now. So that's what I do.
What are some of the organizations that you're involved in that kind of further that cause? I don't know if it's like willfully ignorant, or I just kind of don't pay attention to the nonprofits and all of the things that I think in our community really are helpful. It's part of the reason why I'm interested in talking to people like you. Yeah. I don't want to be ignorant to those things. But what are some of the organizations you're involved in that you think further that cause, or that you feel like,
I'm actively a member of the Fort Pierce Rotary Club.
Okay.
And they are local, but also, we are a nationwide organization. But locally speaking, and I really like to keep things local. I'm a Fort Pierce Police Department volunteer. So I'll do things with the Victims Advocate team, and things like that, toy drives. Downtown Legits Barber does their downtown toy drive. I have donated to that.
Shout out, I got my hair cut there yesterday.
Yeah, they're amazing. And Krista Stone, who you'll be interviewing, brought me.
Yes, she's coming on this week.
She's amazing. She brought me out with them to actually deliver the toys. Talk about humbling. You see all these people coming out of their homes saying, I've got this kid, I've got that kid, and we're just pulling from a bin, handing out basic toys. Like, it's not even like these are the toys that like the kids are.
Right.
They were so humbling, so grateful. They let us hold their babies. Like, it was awesome. Very heartwarming. They do a great job with that. I belong to the Fort Pierce Women's Club. I'm not an active member, but I support them. They're a great organization. They're kind of like a hub to the whole community.
Okay.
They do a lot of hosting and supporting of other nonprofits.
So Fort Pierce Women's Club,
yes.
How long has that been a thing? I don't know anything about that.
The Fort Pierce Women's Club was actually, let me get this right. I believe it was 1913 that they came into play.
Okay.
So, and it started where the old law library is. There was, it's not first aid. Oh my gosh, my brain is, I should have thought about this.
No, I didn't give you the questions in advance. This is all impromptu,
okay.
Right?
But I should know this because I love history too, and I love the history of Fort Pierce. But I'm trying to think. There's a word for it where they admit it's like Red Cross.
Okay.
So they started the first Red Cross in the area, and then they had the first library. So there was a lot of things. Those women were instrumental in Fort Pierce and doing a lot of things. So I highly recommend looking up the Fort Pierce Women's Club and the history of all the things they did, and obviously visiting the historical museum over the bridge. Most people don't even know it's there.
They do not.
You will be shocked at how many families are on those legacy walls that you're like, I know that name, I know this person, and they don't even realize that they're legacy people. What I call a legacy people, because you have a namesake here, right? You helped build, your family was built this town.
Yeah, I mean, my great-grandmother had Dixon's Motel, which was like right down where the old power plant used to be. And I've talked about that on a previous episode. There's so many families that have long ties to the communities that maybe we don't even recognize them anymore. Or they've changed or, moved or whatever. I think it's really cool to highlight some of those things.
So I also my husband's actually cooking for Miranda Strong, Team Miranda Strong.
Okay.
That is a nonprofit that gives back to asthma awareness.
Well, I hope he's a good cook.
He's good.
Okay.
I don't know that, that was hard. I did it once. That hibachiing is
cooking in
a whole
bulk is so
different
hard.
level. So we'll see. That's coming up. But Sue D'Onofrio runs that organization. She's a phenomenal person. It was her daughter. She lost her to an asthma attack. So she brings awareness to that, which I have a lot of respect for because my ex-husband had COPD and asthma, so I know all about that.
Yep.
And then I'm also active with a few different veteran organizations. I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
I am wherever I need to be when someone calls on me to be there.
I've kind of picked up on that, kind of trying to figure out a little bit about you, because again, I don't know some of the people that are coming in here to talk to me. I want to know a little bit. I don't want to know your whole story before we sit down, but That's kind of what I picked up on. You're super community oriented, and almost everything that you do has a community focus. So like, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I really care about community. And again, back to my childhood, there were people like me that stepped up for me and my family. So it's important to me that that still happens. I'm also a business sponsor for an organization called We Leap, which I recently just kind of spoke and gave my childhood story.
What's it called?
We Leap.
Okay, We Leap.
We Leap, yep.
Okay.
Yep. Gwen McLeod is the CEO and founder of that organization. It's domestic violence awareness. They have a program for moms where they actually give new moms like coaching and maybe some supplies if they need it. That's a great organization. I wasn't necessarily a domestic abuse, but I was molested as a child. So I have that, which didn't let it tear me down.
Right.
I moved on. You know, I've done a lot of self-healing as an adult now. My journey is, you know, talking about the demons and I just get them out. I'm very big into sound therapy. My husband, so awesome, bought me crystal singing bowls. I have tuning forks, all the things.
Listen, sound therapy was something, if you had said it to me a year ago, I would have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes.
And I'd probably look at you like you had 6 eyes.
Yeah.
My dad has an autoimmune disease. He goes and does like the sound bed
baths.
therapy.
Yes.
And it has had tremendous impact. So like I am all on board.
It totally works. And, you know, whether you're religious, the Bible, or spiritual, you know, David played the harp. Like, come on. Like, there's so many references to music and frequencies in the Bible. And, you know, and
well,
just
look at how music
spiritual
impacts people too. Like just regular music, you'll send shivers down your spine. It's something that you probably shouldn't ignore. Yeah. There's got to be some sort of impacts to it.
There
right?
is hundreds of scientific studies. Yale, Harvard, all the big wigs, they've all studied it. The thing is, you know, big pharma, and I'm not a fan of, you know, modern medicine anymore and big pharma. I worked in medical for 18 years.
Yeah.
And every day of my life, as I watch these people come in and get this medication, that medication, and then we got taken to Panera for lunch, and then the doctor wrote 50 prescriptions for their drug because we got Panera. And I thought, that's not really helping anyone. You're not healing them. You're just giving them a medication. And my mom was on a lot of medications as a kid. And when I would ask, what is this medication? Well, I take this because I'm on these two. And then I have to take this one because these two interact with this one. And I literally was like, dumped them all out.
Yep.
And of course, you know, I got in trouble. But
of course.
Like, do you at 12 years old this happened. And I was like, do you understand that you're killing yourself? So I've carried a lot of that with me. I did go into medical thinking I could change things, but quickly realized that, you know, my one little voice might make a difference in my community.
Yeah.
But I don't have billions of dollars to fight big pharma. So I'm very much into natural, holistic healing. One of my great friends, Holly, owns Holly's Melon Shop. She does all kinds of immunity drinks. Whenever we're sick, she brings us oil of oregano. I mean, it's amazing when you find that community of healers and natural healers. I mean, I'm sick less often now than I ever have been.
Me too.
Based off of my healing journey and the things that I put into my body and my awareness. You know, it's just little things like plastic Dixie plates, you know, not just Dixie, any plastic plate. You're eating microplastics.
Especially if you stick it in the microwave.
Ugh! Don't even get me started in Tupperware, plastic.
Yeah.
Like, they've sold Tupperware like crazy, and you're heating up plastic and putting it into your food. Like, there's just a lot that people could need to take the time to learn.
Do you feel like when you talk about this to some people, they look at you like a crazy person? Like, yeah, shut up. That's all nonsense. Do you ever feel like that?
100%.
Yeah.
So I have literally had people look at me and they're like, that sounds like witchcraft. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, you call it what you want.
Yeah.
I call it healing. I call it nature. I'm a tree hugger.
Yeah.
And there is science for that too. Look at the Yale and Harvard University studies on the sensory of trees, the root system, how they all talk to each other. They have images where they have people who hug trees and you can see like through the lens where it's actually coming into them. I'm a firm believer in grounding yourself.
Take your shoes off and go put your feet on the bare ground. Now listen, I am not a tree hugger, and I think that like most people that know me that watch this would know that. I don't want to offend you.
You're not.
I've killed a lot of fish and a lot of lobster in this community, right?
I get it.
But I have personal experience with what you've just said. And again, rewind maybe 3 years and I would have looked at you like a crazy person saying something like this.
Yeah.
I was 280 pounds.
Wow.
All right. So I'm like 80 pounds bigger than I am now. My blood pressure was 200 over 100. It had been for a long time. I mean, that's like catastrophic level blood pressure.
Yeah.
And so I was like 36 years old. Kids are growing. I want to be here for a little while longer. I guess I better go to the doctor and get this blood pressure thing under control. She prescribes me some, I don't know, is maybe some common blood pressure medication. Can't remember what it's called
like
now.
Some kind of statin.
Probably. And I start taking it. Days later, not weeks, not months, days later, I start coughing. I get this cough. It's a dry cough. It's like something in the back of your throat, right? And I cough and I cough and I cough. Weeks go by. And one time I coughed so hard I thought I broke my rib.
Yikes.
And I went back to the doctor and I'm like, listen, I didn't know that this was a side effect. It's in the whole long list of side effects at the end. It's like, oh, dry cough. So I go back, I ask, she's like, okay. And then gives me another prescription for a different blood pressure med. Well, I'm not going to read this whole long ass thing about side effects and like, I don't have time for that. Yeah. I'm going to see if I can go about this a different way. Totally changed my diet, changed everything that I was eating, changed how much I was eating. I quit drinking alcohol. Like I took I don't want to say a holistic approach, but like I took a common sense approach to say like what I'm putting into my body is probably giving me results that are not what I want. And so I quit taking the blood pressure med. I quit coughing. My rib wasn't broken, thankfully. Blood pressure now 120 over 80. I'm a decent weight. I probably could stand to lose a few more pounds, but like I have totally changed my tune on, big pharma. You hear people talk about it. It's a talking point. Yeah. I have nothing to push here, or like I'm not trying to advance anything.
I'm pushing love and health and healing, and we can heal ourselves. Our bodies were designed to do it. There's science behind it. You don't have to push an agenda or a product.
Most certainly.
This is not a sponsored ad.
I didn't want to take a prescription to counteract what the prescription I was already taking was doing to me. I've seen that road. I work with people in the retirement space. They take prescriptions and they take a lot of them. And most of the time it's to counteract something that happens from another prescription.
And is it even fixing the problem?
No.
Like back to the sound therapy, I dug some research up and was going down that rabbit hole of information. And I was my grandmother was a nurse for years. Yeah. And I said, hey, do you remember tuning forks? She goes, yeah, we used to check for like neuropathy, diabetics. We would put it to their ankle and their knees if they could feel it. Also, if you were having heart palpitations, the doctor would put it the end of it to your heart because the frequency would re-stabilize your heart rhythm. There's so much information out there on that people want to, they can go look it up. Yeah. But it's, again, if you need science to prove, there is proof. Yep. So we're not crazy. It's not juju. It's not witchcraft. It's not spiritualistic It's facts.
And I'll take this opportunity to like do a shout out community member. My doctor is Jessica McCain.
I love Dr.
Direct
McCain.
Primary care, like straight to me. Don't have to worry about the insurance. And she is not in a hurry to put me on a prescription. She wanted to go on that journey with me and say, hey, let's see what losing weight does to the blood pressure. And it's been a success. So like, maybe I can talk her into coming and being on the show. But
she's
tremendous. And I hope we have a bigger shift to those types of care facilities in our community, because I think they're super valuable. And there's only one of her, so like I don't want my time with her to be cut short because she has more patients. Let me scratch this. She's a terrible doctor. You shouldn't go to her. No, just kidding.
She literally, she didn't reinvent the wheel. She brought back humanity to the doctor. Yeah. She took the white coat syndrome off and gave someone a person that actually listens to you. I know her really well. Yeah. I know her husband. We went to school together, actually. Yeah. She's wonderful. I would definitely recommend her to people.
Let's see if this resonates with you. I'll test something on you. Mm-hmm. She is exactly what I remember my grandparents talking about when they talked about their doctor.
100%.
I get to go in. 100%. I get to spend time with her. She listens. She's not in a hurry to give me an answer and kick me out the door. Yeah. Like, she wants to know what's going on, and she wants to converse about it and educate. And I think it's tremendous. And it's what doctors
she'll
were
ask
and what
you
they're
how
supposed
your
to be.
kids are.
Yeah.
She'll remember when you come back that your grandma died.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, oh, you know, how are you doing since your grandma died? Like she brought back humanity to being a doctor. And there's so many doctors that are being bought out, you know, or they're bought and paid for.
Yeah.
It's a business.
It is.
You know, when they put the Starbucks and McDonald's in Tampa General, which is one of the best hospitals in Florida, I was like, what?
Yeah.
You're promoting the one thing that kills us. Oh, wait, that's smart marketing.
Yeah.
You want us to be fat, obese, sick, eat all this fake foods and putting silicone fries into our body. And listen, I eat the crap when I have to.
You got to keep us coming back. You got to keep us sick.
But I am way more conscious of what I eat now, and I will do my best to not eat those things and just, do the research for yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
I have a moon swiner's habit, so I guess the one thing I can't kick. Bo Slay told me at one point they were considering going to beef tallow for the fries. Come on, man. Let's make that happen. They tasted better when you tried it. So let's make it happen.
And beef tallow has so many beneficial properties.
Yeah.
Like they can do their research on beef tallow. I mean, it is helping people with all kinds of ailments. Skin on the outside and the inside.
Yeah.
There's a lot of benefits to it. Yes, I would also recommend. But even if they don't, I'm still going to eat there because they are amazing. And they do a lot for the community.
They do.
I'm going to also give them a shout out because whenever I need a donation, I know that I can call Danny or Bo and I can say, hey, I've got this going on. Can I get a gift card? They never say no.
Yeah.
And don't everybody start running to them and asking for donations. You know, that this is not a that. I'm like, don't stare. But yes, they are very good to me when I ask, and I know there are other people out there that feel the same way. They're very community oriented.
Bo, you want to come on and share the coleslaw recipe? I don't know. All right, so shifting gears kind of to present day. You know, we could talk about what this community was and the things we like about it forever, I'm sure. Shifting to present day. Now, I wasn't real aware of you or like who you were and all your involvement in the community. I'm super thankful that I'm getting to know that now. And, you know, Gabby Rothman has highlighted how cool you are. And
I tend
to take what she says.
Thank you to Gabby for even recommending me. It's when someone wants to interview me, we talked about this before we got started. It's very humbling to me because I'm just like, why would anybody want to talk to me? But I appreciate it. And I do really respect what you're doing because it does help me reach more people and get out the facts and information.
Thanks. I don't really know what we're doing here, but I'm having a good time doing it. But so, you know, my office is here on Orange Avenue. I have my little retirement planning firm here. One day, a giant of a man walks into my front door and says, hey, we're opening this computer thing down the street. And he had all of the technical terms, and I'm sure I'm not doing it service because I'm not. I had to ask you to help me delete my memory card when you came in here. So I'm not a tech person, but you guys have opened a storefront on Orange Ave. It's over by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
Yep.
Tell me about that business because I don't really know much about what you guys do there, but I met him. Super cool guy. Yeah. You guys had like a grand opening, about a year ago or so?
Yeah, we had like a ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
It was a St. Lucie County Chamber because we're members and he's an ambassador. Ribbon cutting / grand opening type thing for the store.
Super cool. I wish we could, have more of those around here. We need more local businesses. I love local business. Mm-hmm. Tell me about what you guys do.
So we own MK Computers. It's 311 Orange Avenue. And I just want to shout out my landlord, Flip Gates. He is a legacy family here, grew up here. Yeah. It's his building that we rent. It is a historical building, which is why there's not any changes made to it. It all goes through the Historical Society.
Yep.
But he had a sign out front and he had already rented it. And I manifested it. Like, I was like, I just closed my eyes and I'm like, what it's going to be. But we're there. And I, down to the logos of both our companies on the windows. And then all of a sudden it came faster than we expected. And we are so grateful to Flip. I mean, he has just been phenomenal to us. He's such a good guy. We're Rotary members. He got to pin me at Rotary.
That's awesome.
I thought was really cool. So anyways, we own MK Computers, LLC, and Clear VoIP Solutions. We're a voice over IP provider. Clear VoIP.
What the heck does that even mean? Now, I am ignorant on this, like I said. Like, I know how to turn my internet on, but what a VoIP is, I don't even know.
So VoIP is the abbreviation for voice over IP. And basically what that means is the old traditional copper POTS lines are going out. They're going away. They don't even put them into new homes anymore. Everything is ran through Ethernet cable or fiber. Okay. Fiber obviously being the faster solution, but you can run it through both. So basically your phones run through either Wi-Fi or an Ethernet cable that connects to your internet. Now they don't just plug into the wall anymore? No, they do plug into the wall, but it's not a copper line. It's an Ethernet cable that's been run through the back of your line, which y'all have, I think, in here somewhere. Yeah, somewhere. So that's what voice over IP is. And it works the exact same. The only difference is with our company, we offer an app. So a lot of people who have a desk phone or don't want a desk phone, maybe they're on the go or they work hybrid, they can actually answer the calls from their phone through the app. So when they call in or call out, no one knows if you're sitting, in your kitchen, or if you're at your office. Because it literally looks like they're calling to the business line. Got it. Which the old copper lines you couldn't do. Yeah. You had to call where that copper line was, and that line was associated from, the higher up companies. So it's working out really well. We are selective about who we take in and take on. We're not for everyone, and everyone's not for us, and we get it. Yeah. So, but we are very customer service. We really want to be the voice over the phone. We are tech people, so we have a ticketing system. We've got boundaries. People are like, there's rules, there's boundaries. Okay. We are human. We have families. We don't always want to be on the phone, but we do have a ticketing system. But if you really need me, and I have clients who text my personal number, hey, I'm having this problem. Okay, put in a ticket, you know, kind of a thing. But so far that business has been 3 years going. Mm-hmm. It's very, very rewarding in the aspect of, the pricing. Being your own FCC regulated carrier is a phenomenal thing because I'm no longer selling AT&T, Verizon. I'm selling us. And with us, you're getting back to that, like the doctor going to the home, you're getting back that customer service of getting a person. Yep. It's not like where you call, I'm not bashing Comcast, but Comcast, and then you sit on the line for hours and hours and hours. They suck. Well, I try to walk that line. I don't want to. Yeah, I respect that. Yeah. So, but that's where I'm going with it. So, and then MK Computers, my husband has actually been an independent computer repair technician for many years, subcontracted with other companies. And then back in 2019, when I think it was 2017 or 18, he was working for a company and things were just not kosher. Okay. We're both very honest people. We don't like to be shady. So he was like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to do this. So I was like, quit. At the time I was working for a doctor's office, I was like, I'll pay the bills. You'll figure it out. Yeah. When I tell you that because he was a subcontractor, all of the people he serviced had never seen the old owner. He came home and he was just like, you're not going to believe this, but I already got 2 customers, and then 2 went to 10, and then to 20, and to 30. And I'm like, I'm so impressed with him. He's done such a phenomenal job, being true to himself and just trying our best. We are short-staffed like crazy. That's a whole other topic of conversation. Trying to find an IT person who does all things IT is very difficult. Mm-hmm. I actually, I need to get over to the college because they're not teaching, the kids are coming out with these software degrees and the certification for A+. That's not enough. Yeah. You're not coming out with, when they come in and their hard drive's out and we have to take apart or take a keyboard off. And there are thousands of tools and tiny little screws and you've got to know these things. It's just precision. It's not just software. Mm-hmm. It is manual. Yeah. A lot of companies don't run cabling anymore, That's why we did the cabling through the phone company because you have to have a cable. Right. So they don't teach that. They don't teach them how to hang racks and punch down wires. They teach them how they work and what they mean and how to load a server. But, they're not getting all the infrastructure side of it. And nothing runs without infrastructure. Of course. Right? It's like your light bulb's not going to turn on without electricity. Yeah. Same concept. You can screw it in, but... it's just going to sit there. Yeah, it doesn't do you any good. So it's the same concept, You can fire up your laptop, but if your internet goes down, or sorry, Verizon, if Verizon decides to push out a software update to their core and then turns down billions of people's cell phones, guess what? Everybody's out. Yeah. It doesn't work. Let me ask you about the computer business.
Is it a personal, like you do individual computer repair, or are you guys more like business minded? Like what's your focus?
So originally we were just business because
Okay.
we didn't have the storefront. We had an office, or we had an office at home. We worked from home. We started out just doing business because it's having a storefront and taking in repairs and stuff. I mean, we don't have the Geek Squad backing and all
Right.
the people, line. We don't have 10 technicians. So it gets cumbersome. But now that we have the storefront, we are actively looking for a technician that can do minor repairs. So if
Okay.
anybody's looking for a job,
Yep.
we are always, interviewing because the problem is they want $50, $60 an hour when they get out of school because the computer teacher said, you're going to make this,
Yeah.
but they don't have any skills. Well, you're not going to make that, sorry.
Of course.
That's not how the world works.
So here's an area of concern that I focus on. Our elder population is getting scammed out of all of their money. I mean, all of it. And people that you think aren't going to get scammed are getting scammed.
Yeah.
And I think there's like this big disconnect with there's a certain age population that I'm just going to call the customer helpline, and then obviously they get connected to a scammer in another country and they don't know how to tell the difference.
Believe it or not, it's not age related.
It's not. I get to see more people.
Okay.
Right. I get to see the impacts there. I got a call yesterday that seems very, very legitimate. I just happen to know that no one from this organization would call me.
Right.
And so, yes, agreed. It is across all ages. Mm-hmm. Is there room in a business like yours for education on this topic to our community? And I don't know if that's a thing or not. I just feel like it's such an area that we could do better in. I don't know what it looks like. Again, not a tech person. I don't know the ins and outs of the whole story. But it seems to me an area that our community is suffering as a whole. I mean, our community, our country, I guess. But our community is my focus. How can people better prepare themselves or maybe prepare their parents for that kind of thing? Is that something you guys deal with or see on a regular basis?
Yes. So there was a lot asked there, so I'll try to break
Sorry.
it up. That's okay. So the answer to, do we train and teach? Yes, we do. I have gone to homes for elderly. I've gone to nursing homes and sat with them, and I have walked them through how to do things. I have given them printouts of examples of, this looks like AT&T, but it's not. Don't ever give up. I do go through all of that. I've never done like a formal big presentation. I'm not opposed to it, but I haven't had to.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people that walk in, they don't know how to do something. So we're very user friendly on that aspect. Okay. We will help with whatever your needs are. Again, we're family minded, small business minded. We really cater to the people that really need that one-on-one, that extra step.
Yeah.
Which at times, holds our schedule out,
Sure.
Of course, our customers are like, is he coming? And I'm like, yeah, because we just never know what we're walking into.
Right.
So, it's unfortunate, but we're not going to change who we are.
Yeah.
This is our core. If, you can't wait an extra 10 minutes or an hour, or if he runs over and has to reschedule you because, Betty has been hacked and now we're having to redo everything, we're going to stick with Betty.
Right.
Because Betty,
we're not just going to abandon her.
She needs us, right? So, and the elderly, they don't do well with instruction through remote.
No, they do
because we do remote stuff too, but they need that physical. So they come in, or we'll go to them, yes. Back to are there ways to protect yourself? At a minimum, you should have antivirus. And if you have an IT company, please get remote management software installed. That remote management software is going to protect you on the back end. It is monitoring your PC health, your hard drive, whether it's going to overheat. But there's a lot of aspects to it that are going to save you money in the long run. It's not that expensive.
Okay.
And you definitely want antivirus that has, spyware, malware, all the things in it. Because if you just blindly go out there, it's not going to quarantine it. You're never going to stop scammers and hackers. It really falls back onto the person. They're always leaps and bounds ahead of us.
They're so good at
and
it.
The technology that we have to the everyday masses, that's nothing compared to what we actually can do.
Right.
Like, I want to be clear about that. So that is why you're never going to stop people from finding a way, the loopholes. I will say we have a really good working relationship with all of the banks in the area. Seacoast sends a lot of people to us, mainly Seacoast Bank, for what we call a computer cleanout.
Yep.
So now the banks do have a protocol in place that says if you get hacked and your online banking is affected, you have to go to a computer person, have them wipe it out, make sure there's no viruses, and we give them a certificate to bring back to the bank that says your PC has been cleaned out. We have installed antivirus on it. It's only good for a year. But yeah, it's up to them after that to do their job. But yes, there are ways to protect yourself, but you have to put the effort in. You got to do the work. But back to the educational side, people don't know that. And it blows my mind sometimes how uncommon it is for somebody to think they need to protect their computer with antivirus. And even an Apple computer, a Mac, they're like, oh, it doesn't get viruses.
Yeah, okay.
It could still be hacked.
Yep.
It might not get the traditional virus in the Windows format, but it can be hacked.
And your data can still be sucked out of there, right?
Anything can be hacked.
Yeah.
And, we very much live in a app world. Even our PCs and our laptops are app-based.
Download this app. Here's our free app.
Yes.
You got to use our app.
So now you have third-party integrations, third-party softwares. If you have a CRM, and by CRM, it's a management software that maybe you're sending out, thank you letters, or you bill.
Campaigns, marketing, et cetera.
Or you're billing people through QuickBooks or Zoho Books, something like that. Those things are at risk.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have encryption if you're a business. There's a lot.
Yep.
But mostly for the elderly, actually anybody, at the basic, if you are gifting someone a tablet or a computer, or if you're a business or you're a residential computer, I don't care if you turn that thing on one time in 6 months, put the protection on it. Because as it's open, and if you have a window open, you're at risk.
Yeah.
There's back doors to IT.
Yep.
So that you don't have to necessarily click on something. And do your due diligence, look at the websites. If it looks off, don't click on it. Don't go to it. If you're getting a text message or somebody, like you said, they're not going to call you and say, give me this code.
Nope.
And if they do, you're on the phone. I'll give you an example, Metro PCS. If I'm on the phone with Metro and they say, okay, I'm going to text you a code now, give me the code. And I say, okay, I know it's okay to give them that code because I called them.
Right.
So it's perfect.
Yep.
It's a good thing. We all know we're kosher, but then you've got the people who call. There's Comcast people that are fake. There's AT&T,
Microsoft, et cetera. I mean, there's a bunch of them.
Microsoft is one of the worst ones that they mimic.
Yep.
They will call and say your Microsoft account has been hacked, and you have to pay $2.99 for us to release it back to you, or $300, and the people do it.
Yeah.
They do it.
Happily.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me.
Because they don't know any better.
Yep.
So yeah, we really have to do due diligence, educate yourself. It's not something that you're going to change overnight, but we definitely, as a business owner and in the IT space, take a lot of time.
Awesome.
We will hold your hand as much as humanly possible within our schedule, but we will do our best to make sure that you understand what you're doing. And, we're not your parents, but we will reprimand, don't do this again, you know?
And, you mentioned Geek Squad earlier, and I'm not going to ask you to say anything negative, but I really appreciate having someone local community minded that our people can just walk into. You're not some big franchise. You're not a big retail store. You guys care about the community. And so you have I think, a lot more interest in helping. So
yeah, and it's not just money based. Like I said, my husband's very good about saying well, we could try to reload it first, but we'll put it in a hard drive. He really tries to, and we have set pricing. Sure. But we have been known to just give someone, a repair if they need it. Which
is a cool thing that you're able to do as a local business. So you don't have to answer to somebody higher up the chain. If somebody needs help, we're going to help them. That's just the way that I was raised, and the way that this community has always functioned. If there's someone that needs help, we're helping.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's the right thing to do. Yeah. In any business. Right. If it's your business and you can do that. Yeah, at the end of the day, we are a business. It's how we pay our bills and feed our family. But it's not the end all tell all where we have to be like, nope, it's this much, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
We work with people and their budgets for sure.
Awesome. So, I don't have a whole lot left, I don't think, to cover with you. I did want to cover how in the world you have taken 2 kids and I think a few stepkids, right?
Yes, there's 5 total.
5 total children running around. Well, I guess they're grown now,
they're
right?
all grown adults with kids of their own. We're grandparents.
How the heck, as a busy mom, grandmother, do you have time to do all this stuff? Because I am in the middle of it. I got a teenager, I got a 10-year-old. My wife does almost everything, and I still feel like I don't have time to get to anything because we've got so much going on. How do you find time to, kind of not divest, but disassociate yourself with that and commit so much time to the community? Because you have networking groups that you're in, you've got charitable organizations that you participate in, you're all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like if it was me, I'd be stretched so thin if I had your schedule. I admire you, but like, how do you find time to do all that?
Well, I will say that I'm way more active with these things that my kids are grown. So
Okay.
at the end of the day, I don't have littles at home, but there are superheroes out there that do all these things that I do with little kids.
Oh, you're being humble. Come on.
I mean, seriously though, like I just know. So I think I'm a little on the OCD side, and
Okay.
again, back to the solutions mentality. I also will make time. Like, I'm very good at planning. I'm very organized. Everything has its place. Thanks, Graham. That's what I'm good at. I'm good at management, time management. My husband, not so much. I've got to keep him on track. So don't fault yourself. It's balance.
Okay, good.
Right? Like, life is balanced. So you probably have strengths, like he has strengths that I don't have. So while you feel like that, she probably is going, man, I couldn't do that, or thank God he does that, right?
Sure.
So yeah,
I just admire it. I think people who can take time out of their schedule. Look, you run a business. Put family and kids and grandkids aside. Like, running a business should be, for me, is a full-time thing.
It's more than full-time.
It is.
It's a never-ending.
And so but you have all these other things that I think I just admire it. I think it was really cool. Like, digging into you, I thought, wow, she has her hands in everything, and she's not just like to say I'm a part of that. Like, you're actually doing it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Cool.
And that is the goal, to actually not just, there are businesses that can just write a check. We're not those people.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that either. Even if we could, we have, but our goal really is, as a business, we'll write the donation or the sponsorship check, but tell me more.
Yeah.
What can I do to actually make a difference? I like to see my money going back to the community. I like to, be a firsthand witness and involved with these organizations that I give my time to, because time is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, I think it's all, time management is very, very much the key here, but also it's my passion, and it's a very true thing. People will make time for what they want to do. So if you're not really invested in something, you're probably going to be like, I'm going to go here, or I'm going to do this. But for me, it's at the core of everything I do. My motto, everything I say is love is the answer. Love is the answer. In all things.
We need more of that.
Religion, political, I walk, we talked a little bit about that, and I'm not into politics. I like to learn, because boy, just the Senate, the House, the legislature, you learn these things in school, like Schoolhouse Rock,
But you don't get to see it in practice. Like, what are they actually doing?
Yes, you don't understand the caliber either, and kudos to the politicians, in this community that really are genuine, good people.
There's not many of them, in my opinion, but
there are some, though.
There's some, I'll say that.
The thing is, the backlash and the pettiness that they face, and the attack on what they wore, or their weight, or
how they look,
how they showed up to a meeting. If you're doing the job and you're getting the job done, families should be off limits. Their kids off. Don't talk about their spouses. Don't talk about their kids. Keep it job focused.
Yeah.
Like why? And I cannot stand the red and blue thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm human.
Yep.
I come from humanity and love. And if we just got back there and focused back there, everyone references 9/11, and could we all you were hugging strangers, you were crying in front of people you didn't know.
Yeah.
Can we just get back there? That's my goal in life. My sole purpose is to bring joy and love to people and let them see that there is a way. There's a better way. You just have to be willing to embrace it.
Yep.
Simple as that.
You know, I'll rewind to a previous business that we highlighted, and there's a specific day and time I can remember back is about 10 years ago. Bo Slay was standing outside of Moonswiners when I walked up for lunch, and he had a free hugs shirt on. And I gave that guy a hug. I walked in and he just stood outside and he gave people free hugs. And it's like, man,
that.
we need more, more of that. So let's get that shirt back out and do some more of that.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I missed that you want to highlight about yourself? And I know that's kind of a weird question because you're not here to highlight yourself. You're here because I asked you to come, and that Gabby told you to, maybe come in. I know it's hard, maybe. I want to highlight you. So is there anything I missed that you think is a highlight of Crystal that we should hit?
That is a hard question for me because I am humbled and I really don't like to brag on myself. I'm going to say this. If you get one thing that you take away from this interview, love.
Yeah.
If you need anything, if you're struggling, your business is struggling, we have a new group called the Fort Pierce Business Builders Group that is actually going to meet at Sailfish on the 27th, I think. Well, this might already be,
What day is it today? I don't know. It's coming out next Friday. A week from today.
Look up Fort Pierce Business Builders Group. That is a new networking group that's coming out, and we are focusing on, businesses that don't have the brick and mortar we want to help.
Okay.
We're not just there to everybody say what they always say at traditional networking, and then there's 50 people in the room and nobody remembers what you do. We want to help. So I want it, come to me. If you need something, come to me. I'm an open door policy. You can inbox me. My social media, all of it is public. My cell phone is public information. Text me, call me. I don't care if you have a nonprofit you want me to support. Call me.
Yeah.
I'm it.
Treasure Coast Business Builders.
Yes.
Yeah?
No, Fort Pierce.
Fort Pierce Business Builders.
Business Builders is the group. But,
okay.
But me, showcasing me as a person and highlighting, just I'm open.
Yeah.
Come to me. I will hug you. I will kiss you. You need a shirt. I'll buy you a shirt. You need a coffee. You just want to vent. All the things.
Yeah.
Whatever I can do. I'm a Pisces, so I come from love, and I just want to give it.
Okay.
Like I'm bursting from the inside with love and nurturing and help, and I just want to help you.
Well, those are the kind of people we need in our community. And there are so many people that if you just a hug on a day when they're down can just totally change their whole trajectory. And it sounds like you're doing that in spades. Yeah. So
I hug homeless people. I mean,
me too.
My friends are like, that is so crazy. Like, why are you doing that? I'm like, because you have you have no idea how many times people will get that hug from me and they will burst out in tears, grown men, mind you. They might smell, they might have not showered in a week, but they will literally look at me and they will, and now I'm going to cry. They will say,
we almost made it.
Oh man, almost. They will say, you're the first person that has looked at me like a human being. People have walked by me all day. Rotary makes bags full of like snacks, socks, toothbrushes, toiletries. Yeah. I have 2 of them in my car right now. That's what I do.
Yeah.
If I see someone, I will buy a meal, bring it out to them. Not everyone can afford to do that. I get it. But hugs are free. Kindness is free. A smile is free. Just look at them, smile, acknowledge them. They are human.
Treat them like that.
Yeah, don't treat them like garbage. A lot of us are one step away from being homeless.
Yeah.
And if you say you're not, you're probably lying because you don't know what tomorrow holds. A lot of us depend on our spouses, our income, our businesses. If my husband died tomorrow, I would struggle immensely because the amount of knowledge that man brings to our business is irreplaceable.
Right.
So same as I'm sure the asset Bo to Moonswiners, the asset he is to Moonswiners. Yeah. When you are the glue and the oil to a production, you just never know. So people need to humble themselves.
I really struggle, I'll open book. I struggled for a long time. I grew up in the church, Baptist church. I struggle. I watch people that I know walk by my office here on Orange Avenue daily. Yeah. And they're people that I was in church communities with. I loosely know what their belief system is. They walk by those homeless people like they are a dirty dog or worse.
And that's a whole podcast we could do on a separate topic of
Maybe we will on
Yeah.
episode 2. I'm not scared to say it. I think that the government isn't going to solve our problems. Not all of them. We should be a little bit more or a lot more proactive. I don't want to talk about this in every episode, but I guess it's something that's important to me.
Well, it's a very hot topic too at the moment. So.
I get to see it every day when I walk out of this office door.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a tragedy. Most of them have really no choice. It's a mental health problem or some, you know,
or
grouping of mental health problems,
yeah.
addiction, whatever. Most people aren't choosing to be out here.
You took the words out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say. It's usually not a choice. It's usually thrusted upon them. There are some that choose that life because there are free spirits.
Sure.
There are people who are homeless, believe it or not, but they don't say that.
Mm-hmm.
They call themselves nomads.
Wanderers.
Or wanderers.
Rainbow people, I think.
I
like
go
that.
where the wind blows me.
Yeah.
And some people are okay with living in nature. And it's not really that weird. You know, if this were 40 years ago, 50, 60 years ago, it wasn't uncommon for somebody to go plop out in the woods and build a house out of the trees around them and live. It's just our mentality is so bougie these days, and we think we have to have all the fancy things and the fancy houses and the fancy cars. And you know,
in my experience, though, it doesn't have to be a monetary showing, right?
It doesn't.
Talk to them.
Yes.
Ask them a question. Ask them how their day's going. Like, obviously, it's probably not going great, but you'll start a conversation, and a lot of times they haven't had interaction in weeks with someone, like real interaction, and it can be so helpful. I hope that we get to a point where we have more. So do I. More people who are just willing to come and interact and try to make a difference, because it's becoming a bigger problem.
It is, and I will say I
don't even know if I want to call it a problem. It's becoming a bigger issue.
Well, it's a pandemic.
There you go.
You know? I belong to the DBA, the Downtown Business Owners Association meeting here, and I'm part of the committee that deals with Damien Spots, the police department, and then code enforcement. And the number one complaint at the meetings a lot of times is the homelessness down here. They're sleeping on the benches. So we are making it, I hate to say, less comfortable. Yeah. But if you're a business that doesn't want someone sleeping in front of your building, don't leave a bench out. Don't leave chairs out. But also, what have you done to help these people? If they're there every day,
you just want them to go
out on a cold day and said, "Here's a coffee," and I'm sorry, but you can't sit here. But here's a coffee, you know.
Where are they supposed to go? Just somewhere out of my sight? Like, that's what we're saying. Like, go somewhere else. Well, where?
And I know that they have. I know that the county. I have had talks with Kathy Townsend about a shelter, especially for men. There's not a lot for men.
There's not.
And people, it's a stigma that only women and children need help. No, there are men who step up to the plate every day, take care of their kids who need that extra help, or become homeless with their kids. The mom died, or the mom is a drug addict. You know, you just don't know. People need to stop making it seem like it's only women who need help. Yeah. Men's health matters too. Their mental health matters. And so, you know, we need all those things.
Do you know Rich at Sacred Grounds, the Sacred Grounds Cafe?
Yes.
He does a phenomenal...
I don't know him, but I know the cafe. And
he does a phenomenal outreach, and he employs quite a few of our down and outs. He's on my to get list for the podcast, so I gotta go in there for a reason other than to eat the prime rib on Friday or Saturday nights. But phenomenal guy in our community, and I want to get him in here. I want to get him in here and get him on.
You see their van park out there all the time, or the box truck.
And I mean, God, they have great food too. Like, it's awesome, awesome restaurant.
And that's another thing, you know, like people, when way back when I worked at like McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts growing up, I never threw the food away. Like you were supposed to, and even Dunkin' Donuts, they're like, you know, throw away all these donuts. No. Yeah. I'm going to take that big old bag with me, and I would take it down to the park area or wherever, and I'd be like, you know,
there you go.
Disclaimer, you can't sue them for this, but here's some free. Yeah. The amount of waste and food we throw out, we could solve hunger.
Definitely.
With the waste.
Definitely.
And also, you know, we really need to get back to, I hate government regulations on having chickens.
You could have just stopped with I hate government.
I mean, I don't hate all government. I do believe in the law, and I think that law is important. And law is more important because of accountability. Yeah. We are human, and we have discernment, and sometimes we need guidance. So I look at law like a guide, but I think there's a lot of laws that need to be fixed. There's a lot of laws that were back from when, no offense, when men ruled the house.
No offense taken, you're right.
And it was their way or the highway. Same with the traditional religion. It's a very condemning, very fearful push.
Yeah.
And it's not really. It doesn't come from love.
Yeah.
So we need to change that narrative up. We need to start pushing some laws that. Dana Trabolsi recently pushed some stuff for, people who have HIV. I don't know if you know, she lost her brother. And that was beautiful.
Yeah.
And what a loving thing to put into government and a way to bring awareness. That's Governor DeSantis with the felony abuse for animals. Thank you, Jesus. I hope that they prosecute everyone to the fullest.
Or more.
I always
put them under the jail.
Can you imagine if we were like other countries, an eye for an eye, If you stab a dog, we stab you.
Yeah.
If you rape a child, we rape you. Like, I don't know, Can you just, if people actually thought
there was real consequences?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would we do and have all of the hate and hurt things that we do? No. But I will say in that aspect, we have such a beautiful privilege of these kind of things today. What you're doing is so much more than just an interview. You're bringing a lot of awareness. So again, thank you for this.
We just have so many cool people in our community, and I know a handful of them, but I want to know more. I want to know more of people like you.
And there's not enough people wanting to do this.
No.
And so now what you're doing is you're going to open up the door to people that are going to go, I didn't know that was a thing, or I didn't know that existed, or oh my gosh, I've never heard about that. So I think everyone, I've seen the interviews, everyone you've interviewed so far, I think has brought something different to the table. Hopefully I brought something, beneficial.
I don't want this to be an echo chamber of me bringing my friends and people who are like-minded in here and just me talking to people who are like me.
Yeah. You like a perspective.
Yeah, I do. And I didn't know that we were going to get off to such a different start, but like our lives started so differently. Yours was chaos and tumultuous. I don't know, that's not a real word. Yeah. Turmoil. Mine wasn't.
Yeah.
But we've kind of ended up in similar spots where we want to progress our community and make an impact. So like super cool that people from different backgrounds can end up headed in the same direction and working towards a similar goal. And I think there's a lot more of us maybe than we know.
Yeah. And circumstances don't define you. Your choices do. I said that in my speech recently. You can make the choice. Someone told me once that happiness was a choice.
Yeah.
I choose happy. I really try to. I'm not perfect. I will scream at my husband. I've been known to get angry, but you really have to push me to get there. For me to really be angry with you, you have to really dig and dig and dig and claw because
you got to earn it.
Said I see the world through rose-colored glasses.
Blessing and a curse.
He used to call me Mother Teresa, blessing and a curse. But I'm not going to change because I think love is the answer. I don't say it, I believe it, I do it, I live it every day, and I think that we can change the world, one podcast at a time.
Well, I'm super grateful that you came in. Wonderful to get to talk to you. I assume maybe someday we'll do part 2 and we'll do a little bit more, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.